and welcome to another university segment of the Reimagine 2020 virtual conference series. I'm your co-host, Ashlie Meredith, and today we're bringing you our Halloween spooktacular, Tales from the Crypto. And I'm here today with Mihir Wadekar. He's the current president of UC Davis's student blockchain organization, Blockchain at Davis. Welcome, thanks for being here, Mihir. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me on here. I'm doing great.
Yeah, so we was recently introduced to you. I'm the head of education at MouseBelt Blockchain Accelerator. We work with universities to bring educational resources and support research at academic institutions. Just getting students educated in blockchain. Been working with UC Davis for a long time, but you're the newest president,
Yeah,
and we haven't had a chance to interview you before. So I'd
yeah,
love for you to introduce yourself to our global audience and
for
tell
sure.
them, how did you get into blockchain?
Yeah. So I'm a third year CS major at UC Davis. How I got into blockchain was, when the 2017 bubble happened in December, I learned about Bitcoin and it going to like $20,000. And then I like most people that time, like I was like looking up how to mine Bitcoin, right? And I initially used my laptop, and it really didn't end well for my laptop. It kind of died just because Bitcoin mining is so intensive. And then I was like, yeah, we're not gonna create Bitcoin out of thin air like this. So let's look into more about what the actually underlying technology of the whole thing is. And that's how I got into learning more about Ethereum and Solidity, particularly by this website called cryptozombies.io, which gives you a pretty good Solidity tutorial and learning more about the Ethereum blockchain. So that's pretty much how I got into blockchain. And then when I came to UC Davis for my undergrad, I learned about the Blockchain at Davis Club, and that's pretty much the first club I joined on campus, and I've just stuck right through for the last 2 years. So yeah.
Absolutely. I actually hear from a handful of students that they originally got into blockchain and cryptocurrency by mining.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's I think that's pretty much like a pretty common pretty common way of trying to get into it, just because originally the financial value of financial allure of the cryptocurrency that attracts you, but then when you realize the actual underlying technology of it and like how powerful blockchain really is, and not just the cryptocurrencies, that's when you start getting into more about how it works and stuff. So yeah.
Absolutely. And for any students tuning in who might be interested in getting involved in blockchain, another thing that I see recommended a lot is the crypto zombies, or the learning more about Ethereum by playing that game, as well as just diving into your blockchain student organization on campus. And I know that UC Davis has a very robust blockchain club. There's a lot of activities. There's a lot of interest. You're one of the schools in our ecosystem, at least, that we work the most closely with. There's a lot of research. Dr. Mosadogi, who's been on the show before, is doing a lot of great research. So anyone who's just tuning in to the Reimagine 2020 virtual conference series, head on over to our YouTube channel, our Reimagine 2020 YouTube channel, to see Dr. Mosadogi talk about his projects. But even if there isn't, so if there is a blockchain club on your campus, highly recommend you go check it out and get involved in any way you can. And then if there isn't one, think about starting one, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think blockchain at Davis, it was started like towards the end of 2017, just before I got into college. So it was just how it began was just a Facebook group. Around like 200 members signed up, and we just like they used to discuss more about what the cryptocurrency price fluctuations, as well as like how blockchain actually works. And then that Facebook group went on to become a club, towards like the early 2018, just before I came here to Davis. So yeah, it's starting from a really small point. Try to gauge interest in like the CS community or the economics community in your college, and if you see a lot of people are interested, interested, might as well go form a club and try to interact with like other blockchain companies and slash organizations like MouseBelt, and try to make cool events happen at your college. So yeah.
So what was the step from joining the club and then
Mhm.
becoming now the president?
So initially, as I joined, I was just a member. In June, I joined in September 2018. Yeah. So I was just a member. But I learned. So the club was holding a Solidity workshop for that quarter. So I learned more about how smart contracts work. And like I had experience from Crypto Zombies, so I could use that to further my knowledge in this workshop series. So from then I went on to create my first project in blockchain known as Plasticoin. That was kind of like an ERC20 token trying to incentivize the recycling of plastic bottles. And after that, I had that became a big project, and like one of the things I put on my resume as a startup, just because we had like five 6 member team for the project, and we talked to investors and MouseBelt itself just for trying to get mentorship about how the project should go forward. So that's pretty much how I got into blockchain at Davis, and then founded my own project. And later on, when I decided the project was like taking too much time, and as an undergrad I couldn't really give it like the due time that it needed to mature into a successful company slash project. I turned into more of a project manager role to manage other projects at blockchain at Davis. So one of the projects here was a medical application of blockchain, where you can have medical records on a private or public blockchain, and it'll make it easier to share between hospitals and insurance companies, just to reduce the amount of paperwork you need, and the amount of money you need to move these things around. So after being project manager, our president had to graduate because he was fourth year, and eventually I was interim president. And since like I feel the work was I know I work good, so I just went ahead and became president, because most of my colleagues were like cool with making me the president. So yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you saw the opportunity and and there was a need and you
there was a
stepped up
need.
and
Exactly.
became a
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, I definitely commend you for that. I think it's
Hmm.
awesome when students take on leadership roles and
Hmm.
learn how to project manage and help others and get that real experience.
Yeah.
And hopefully, will be really great for your job prospects after graduation.
Hmm.
Let's go back and tell me a little bit more, or tell our viewers. I have a little bit of familiarity with it, but
Hmm.
tell some of our viewers about Plasticoin and the Hardtech Fund at Davis, because I think
For
it's
sure.
really interesting. And
Yeah.
it's these we have some partners on the MouseBelt side, IoTechs, IoT integrations. MouseBelt, actually, our founders had another startup years ago that was in the hardware space, in IoT and RFID.
Yeah.
So I'm really fascinated by the combination of like what blockchain can do combined with IoT.
Exactly. So going back to Plasticoin, my initial idea was there's a lot of plastic waste and plastic bottles that are like littered across the United States and the world in general. So I was thinking, what if we incentivize people to pick up these plastic bottles and put it in a recycling bin? And maybe the cost of doing so is maybe $1, $2. That's something that that could be determined by the market of like how many people buy, what the value of the plastic coin token would be. So I decided to go ahead and create an ERC20 token, and create some sort of smart bin that can detect if a plastic bottle has been thrown in it or not. So for that's pretty much the IoT integration that we wanted to have. Our plan for that was to have a sensor. I think I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was some kind of a spectrum detector. So it'll fire a light ray to the object, and it'll detect what spectrum it is, and by that it'll see what materials does the object have. So that's pretty much the sensor that we wanted to have on the smart bin. and we wanted to connect it to like an Arduino/Raspberry Pi, which could just connect to the internet or to the local internet hub. So we could, whenever a user puts in a plastic bottle, he can scan the smart bin and say that, okay, I have entered the plastic bottle, and then he'll receive the corresponding plastic coin tokens by doing so. So that pretty much was the idea of plastic coin. But unfortunately, we weren't able to implement it just because the cost of making the smart bin, that was just proving to be too much. And the whole point was the governments or the local governments should be interested in having this on their, in their city. So we tried Davis, but they weren't really that much interested, or they were actually, I don't think they were that they weren't aware of how blockchain would make a difference in the recycling sector. So that's pretty much what my at least understanding from that meeting was. So yeah.
Interesting. So what
Mhm.
you learned from engaging with government officials in UC Davis is that, or in Davis, is
In
that
Davis, yeah.
there is a lack of understanding of
Yeah.
how blockchain might solve these pain points.
I feel not just Davis, but like most government, like it's just blockchain is something that's, often associated with like drugs and or like underground, black market trading. That's pretty much what it's associated with, because Bitcoin has been historically used for, purchases on the dark web and stuff like that. So I feel that there's a need for the government to like further assess more about what blockchain actually is. And I think at least in Sacramento, the last I heard, they were having a team trying to review the technology and learn more about it. So I think there's a definite need for like governments all around the world to learn more about how this technology can help benefit. Uh,
Well, that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of negative
yeah.
connotations or stigma around blockchain and cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of education work that needs to get done, but that's encouraging to hear that the city of Sacramento is actually hiring people to study this stuff. And I think we'll see more and more of that. And I think we'll also see, the costs to create these kinds of sensors and maybe a plastic coin bin are going to go
Yeah.
down. So
Hmm.
it's definitely the future. It's where the
Yeah.
future is going. And what I think is so interesting is that the university is a space where you can be really experimental and you can research things that are even just theory, right?
Yeah.
A lot of university is a lot of the research in blockchain, it's all theory.
Yeah.
But with the Hardtech Fund, gave you kind of a space to look into actually applying some of those things.
Yeah.
And I know that we had the Hard Tech Funds demo day over at the
Hmm.
Blockchain Center San Francisco, where the MouseBelt offices were. Um, any more information or updates about what's going on with the Hard Tech Fund?
For sure. So about the Hardtech Fund, we got selected over the summer to build out a plastic and bin, and while we did our team presented a prototype at the demo day, I personally wasn't able to be there just because I was in India at that time. I think the demo was pretty cool just because we tried to use a low cost sensor slash a small prototype bin, and it was pretty nice. Um, well, just in case, just to know, but like what's happening with Hardtech Fund now is like it's transforming into something called the Hardtech Campus, and they're looking to hire like get more projects on board this year. Especially with like COVID and like remote work, that's kind of pushing it back just because the Hardtech Fund depends a lot on the hardware part of the project. So I feel like after COVID, for sure, I think it's going to be back in full swing, and I know for a fact that multiple other projects are going to be, applying for the Hardtech Fund / Hardtech Campus. I think they also had one event like before COVID where they discussed like how the Hardtech Fund can like help solve the environment's problems, like some of the sustainability problems in the environment. So yeah, that's pretty much, it's going pretty strong. I feel the Hardtech Campus or Hardtech Fund. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting to hear that it has been so successful and they're looking to expand it. And
Mhm.
so, Blockchain at Davis is the student organization for blockchain on UC Davis's campus, and they are involved with the Hard Tech Fund. But as the president and having been in the club for a couple years, tell us a little bit more about what does blockchain at Davis do? What are some of your main activities? How is the club set up?
Sure.
What's coming up for you? Also, especially how are you operating now that, I believe UC Davis has gone fully
Yeah.
virtual or mostly virtual.
So pretty much what we're doing, what the original setup for the activities used to be is that we used to have a quarter long workshop on Solidity and like some guest events. So we've had Tezos blockchain come in, and I think XYO blockchain come in, and we've attended multiple hackathons as like an organization. So we've provided mentorship in blockchain to like Hack Davis 2020, and we are looking to provide for 2021 as well, as long as like it happens. But we also done it for sac hacks 2019. And in terms of like what's planned ahead, like especially with everything being virtual, we're just using Zoom or Google Meets to meet up with our members, like get to know about their interests and what they are looking for from our club, just because we've had an influx of new members, with the college, freshmen coming in this year. So we're looking to have a Ripple event next. Like we're planning it to be like either next week or like next week, where like the people from Ripple come in and talk about their company and how Ripple is, how Ripple is being used around the world. And we're also planning an event with like the Microsoft blockchain, that part of the company, where we had a past event with them, with the Blockchain Acceleration Foundation that I'm a part of. So I spoke to them and they were like, yeah, we're down to hold an event for your club. Or like at least in the spring for Blockchain Davis, we didn't really have many events, just because we were all focused on building the curriculum for the class that was going to be held in, like that is being held right now in fall. So that's pretty much it. So we're pretty new to like operating online now, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So tell me more about this course. I know that was one of the bigger initiatives that you've been working on and the club has been working on. Yeah, tell our viewers, what was that process of getting an accredited course like this and what's the structure of it?
Sure. So the accredited course was like one of our main focuses, like over the summer and spring. Um, so the way we planned this out is that we go right from the introduction to blockchain to like how we actually build on like different platforms like Stellar, Ethereum, like most of the platforms that we've heard of and like are popular. And the way this course is structured is that we have two classes a week, one of which is taught by Professor Mohammed Sadogi, our advisor, and the other is taught by a guest lecturer who's like a part of a different company. So we've had we've had Ethereum Foundation come in, we've had RSK Labs come in and talk about Bitcoin. We're going to be having Libra or Novi come in and talk about their hot stuff protocol. We're also going to be having Polkadot, Consensus, and many other blockchain companies talk about their projects. And how students are going to be graded on this is that we have a final project that is like what 90% of the grade, where the students choose any blockchain platform that they desire, and they try to come up with a blockchain project in a group of five other students. And the way this project is set up is that you have to first write a Web3 grant for it, or a Web3 Foundation grant for it. So if the students decide to pursue this project in the future, they have the grant already set up, and they have like the structure of the project already made to go ahead and make this a success. um, and this course is completely open source, so I think there'll be a link in the description or something, with which you can like access the website for this, and you can go over all the guest lectures and like all of Professor Sadogi's lectures, and learn more about blockchain in that way.
Well, awesome. Yeah, we're all
Mhm.
about open access to education right here at MouseBelt.
Mhm.
But it sounds like so not only are these students getting an education about how to actually build on these protocols, but they're being encouraged to learn what the process looks like for seeking funding for a project
Exactly.
and really being successful and hearing from people in the industry about career opportunities or what it's actually like to work in the blockchain industry.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's setting them up for something, if they're really interested in blockchain, which I feel like looking at the class, a lot of them are. They're just setting their project up to be something like, something that can be reckoned with, as compared to like other projects. So yeah.
And was this largely, I know there's good a lot of faculty support, like from Dr.
Mhm.
Sadogi, but this is like a largely student-driven initiative.
Yes. So this has been largely driven by like Blockchain at Davis and Blockchain Acceleration Foundation. BAF is mostly in charge of getting like funding for this course. So like, with all university courses, it's like struggle just with the bureaucracy, to get it approved. But thankfully, Dr. Sadogi, he handled all of that because he himself was super interested in getting this course up and running. Um, so yeah, it's mostly student-run initiative, but a lot of support from our advisors.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
we see that as far as my experience of engaging with student blockchain organizations and talking to students on campus, a
Mhm.
lot of the drive for blockchain is coming from students. So I think it's super
Yeah.
amazing to see. And we love supporting students directly, but look forward to when more administrators and universities will take this more seriously and see the student demand and kind of deliver on the things that students want to learn because they're paying a lot of
Mhm.
money to go to these schools and
True.
they should have access to the kind of education that they want.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've got a great picture of what's going on at UC Davis, what the biggest initiatives has been, how things are going this semester. Um, Maybe tell me your experience about Davis in general or the whole campus. What's the temperature of blockchain over there, and what are people excited about? I know we haven't really been able to have meetups with
Mhm.
COVID and everything, but you've
Yeah.
been living in Davis for a few years. What's the
Yeah.
blockchain scene like there?
I think we have a lot of like passionate people in blockchain, at least like a few people that I've met. They are doing super good in like the crypto space. I know a few of our alumni, like one of them works at Ripple, and like it's it's something that's like warming up to blockchain more than like it's not super, it's not super hot in terms of temperature of blockchain here, but it's like warming up. And I feel like just with more events to look forward to, like, and our collaboration with you guys and like other blockchain organizations, it's just gonna get better from here. So yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like Davis in general, I think, and even we're looking to expand to like Sacramento as well. So I feel, like in general, it's going to be way better now that this has happened. Yeah.
yeah, it's despite some of the setbacks of 2020, it
Mhm.
feels like it's been a banner year for crypto. A lot of exciting things happening, and Bitcoin price is up, and really looking forward to the rest of this year and all the things that will come from 2021. So just to wrap up the segment,
Mhm.
thank you, for sharing all of your experiences of being a
Yeah.
student at UC Davis and what's going on there. So in some of our other Reimagine 2020 themes, we talked about how we're reimagining this year because things are changing so quickly, and we decided to host a virtual conference to bring content and bring our community together while everyone was stuck at home. We had another theme, disrupt the system, and I like to ask students this question because I think it really informs why they're so passionate about blockchain. But what are some of the use cases that you think have the most potential to disrupt our systems or create entirely new systems?
Yeah. So I think decentralized autonomous organizations is something that is definitely going to disrupt the system, just because how it can be applied to governments and other organizations, especially with the whole mail-in fraud that's been like touted across like, in the news currently. How we can use the power of blockchains to like mitigate that and actually truly democratize the government, in general. One other trend I feel is going to be disrupting the blockchain space is like the DeFi trend, just because how it cuts out the banks as a middleman just for obtaining loans and like getting interest on your assets. And I feel that's going to be something we have to look forward to over the coming years. So yeah.
Excellent.
Mhm.
And to fit in with our spooky Halloween theme, also asking, um, what do you think is the scariest thing about traditional finance, or the status quo, or the way that money works now that blockchain is trying to disrupt?
You know, one scary thing about traditional finance is like I feel just with how banks are just charging high interest rates for loans or like even credit cards, it's just money that they're like just absorbing in the middle. And I feel blockchain is cutting that process entirely out, and giving you better returns on your money, and like giving you better interest rates for loans as compared to like banks who are just sitting and absorbing money in the middle. I think that's something that's super scary, and blockchain can definitely solve this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Hmm.
joining us for Reimagine 2020 version 4, Tales from the Crypto. This has been another university segment with students from all over the world reporting about what's going on their campus. Mihir Wadekar, the current president of blockchain at Davis at UC Davis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.